Do we have like a tumbler or something for Reddick so he can at least leave here?
Or you can let me go into your closet and just pick out a. You wear 9s, right?
No, sir.
I thought you did.
A little bigger than that.
9.5.
A little bigger than that.
What size? I think I can. I can make it work. Yeah. Can I go in the closet and just pick out a pair I like?
Absolutely.
The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media.
Hey guys, welcome to Actions Detrimental. I am Denny Hamlin, driver of the FedEx Camry this past weekend. I have two co-hosts this morning. We have our bracket challenge winner, Tyler Reddick.
Good morning.
Congratulations.
I got something out of the weekend at least.
You got some pride, I guess.
Yeah, I'm out of the car. I'm pissed, obviously. And Tyler Anderson, who I work with, comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, you're going to be on the podcast." And I just in that moment, I was like, "Oh, wonderful. Yeah,
great. That's fantastic news. Yeah.
So,
Jared. Hey, Jared.
How's it going?
Good. Jared Allen's our normal co-host. He's now moved closer to me. Since you are, I got to fix
What?
He didn't even run 1100, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
That's the first thing Tyler said when he walked in.
Yeah.
You guys both feel the same way this morning.
Well, kind of, Tyler, I didn't get to download your day. We usually save that for about 12:15 today.
Yeah.
Where we'll go to 2311 and download everything. But seemed like you were kind of right in the mix all day with me and Christopher, and kind of seemed like the group of cars that kind of stood out to me. And then at the end, it seemed like, kind of tell us about that whole sequence at the end and kind of why you were all upset. I didn't, because people were asking me, did you see Tyler's interview? And I said, no, I haven't. I got lots of other things to process at the moment, but kind of talk us through your day.
Yeah, we were like you said, right in the mix. I feel like we had good speed. It can be hard to tell, right? Just when you're behind one or two cars, all right, if I'm staying this close, am I better? Are we about the same? But on the green flag runs, I could definitely feel like through the middle of the corner, we were a little bit better than the 20. And I never really got to race around you on the long run. So certainly the first run of the race, we were still lacking a little bit of rear grip. Practice was a hard read for us. We were just junk. We did everything we threw at the car just didn't work. So we had to just put that out of our mind, and our car was a lot better in qualifying. So in the race, it was driving like it did in qualifying. So just trying to hang on to it, not make a mistake, get loose, spin out. And I'd say from that first green flag stop on for much of the race, we were really, really solid. Just we had to get our way to the front. So we bolted on the last planned set of tires, and obviously we were further back in traffic. So I don't know if we just
that's where me and you restarted back there.
Yeah.
14th, 15th.
Yeah, like 60, 70 to go. And I don't know if we just missed the adjustment a little bit, didn't adjust enough. But from that point on to the race ended there, we were just too tight. Couldn't make moves, couldn't go anywhere. So that was frustrating for sure. So I really tried to push hard and get around. I got back around Martin. We were racing Ty. I felt like if I could have got by Ty, could have got up to Larson. And, it was kind of a sign that something was just off with the tires.
Right.
Racing Ty, I noticed right away it got a step tighter, right? And just numb in the front. I'm like, oh boy, I quartered my tires. So we kind of had to back it up and just ride to the end. And I was just trying not to blow the right front tire, kind of just managing the gap back to Buescher. We were going to finish 8th. And the caution came out with 2 to go. And I was like, great. I knew we were in a bad spot. With the tire situation, right, we were going to be sitting duck on the Green-White-Checkered. So,
So did y'all come in and pit?
Yeah, we had to pit. It was a hard pill to swallow, but, I would have just been in the way on that restart. We were so off the pace. So, just the situation we were put in.
Yeah.
I was sitting there 29th, coming to the first overtime attempt, and I was just like, this sucks. I don't know where we were going to get back to, right? 25th, maybe.
And looking at it, Joey Logano was 14th on the last lap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Coming
with 2 to go. Yeah. So it took the whole field and flipped it upside down.
Insane.
For sure. Needless to say, I was not a big fan of that that first caution with Austin Cindric. I just worked over Chastain for many, many laps and finally got him in a spot there where he wasn't going to be able to control his car. And, man, that was a good battle. And, man, I really wanted to see the checkered on that one because it just I'd had to battle back through so many different things that happened throughout the day. You like to get the payoff from it, but, man, yeah, tough one. And we'll dig into how we all got there. But
how do you guys feel about the way the cause of this caution? Because you both obviously it was a bad beat for both of you. Denny, you were about to win, and Tyler, you were going to finish in the top 10. Now, ultimately, your finish was better at the end of the day, but at the time, it took you from a 8th place top 10 finish outside the top 20, whereas these two guys are playing grab ass. I'm quoting you. In the back to cause a caution with 2 to go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, once I made it to the back, I was okay with it, right? The first caution, I wasn't involved in the wreck, but when everyone stacked up, I got a little bit of damage, and I didn't know if they were gonna position me where I was running before I had to slow down my pace a lot to not, run into somebody in the crash. So the whole thing was just crazy. There was cars all over the place. It was kind of like Darlington-esque of the spring last year where, you saw Harvick. I know Keselowski was another, and there was one other car that, kind of were in the area of the wreck but didn't stop, so they gave them their spot back. I wasn't in the fence wrecked like they were, but, I had an aggressive restart starting 29th. I basically drove it in there till it got loose and passed a couple rows. And then, they racked right in front of me, so I'd almost come to a stop. But where I was on that timing line, they threw that caution. I gained 7 there, and just each restart, crazy things were happening. And it was chaos on the roof. It was chaos on the pit box. Nobody really knew where they were. Each lineup, I'd say the one where I think it was when Kyle ran out of gas and Busch spun because of it. I mean, we were like 5 wide all the way back through the pack because everybody thought they were here, there, and NASCAR had their hands full there.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into the kind of how they officiated the scoring. It was interesting. Certainly, TV brought up the Kyle one. I thought that was extraordinary that they put the 8 back up as far as he did because he actually hit the wall while he was just trying to avoid the wreck.
I missed that one completely. I saw Ross wreck. That was the one where I had to check up quite a bit. So I was fighting my own battle to get back where me and my team believed that I was before the caution. And I saw the 8 go by, and I'm like, the right side's ripped off of it, and they gave him a spot back. So, in the honor of consistency, I guess, right, I benefited from it. So I guess I personally can't really be too upset about it.
Well, in the moment, I'm upset at the time because we're taking forever under caution. But like you say, they've got so much they've got to process when they're trying to figure out who's running where, who was involved in the wreck, who was slowing down, who was not. It's painful because, such as in the instance of Austin Cindric, he spun and he just kept on going. And yet, I don't know how long that caution was, but it felt like 5 laps, like something really long. Now, scoring shouldn't have been really an issue there, but I just thought that the cautions took a long time. Now, again, I understand it once we get in these green-white checkers and we're going 8 wide, but it is kind of a cut and dry where I guess they probably have to look at a replay, right, figure out who's in the wreck, who's not. But then after that, it's all just numbers in a printout of where you're supposed to be.
Something I remember from when I raced go-karts to even I feel like even into my late model days, when they would have a real big mix-up like that, we weren't pushing close on fuel, but maybe it's something in these overtime situations where, when there's cars like you and the 19 and the 5 to 8.
Yeah, the whole field was really
when
tight.
They have a real mix-up. They would stop us. They would stop us on the back, or they'd stop us near an official, and then they would just say, "All right, the 8, the 5, the 19," and have us move. I don't know if it actually saved us any fuel, but certainly,
it's a hard job. It's a hard job getting us lined up, especially when we're all trying to cheat the system as much as we can. So,
and it always feels worse when you're low on fuel, right? It's like when you're late to something and then you hit every red light. It's like, of course I'm hitting all the red lights today.
Right. And it's in the red lights are all just timing, right? It's like you can like I know when I leave the neighborhood here, if I time it right, I can have all greens all the way to 77.
Right.
Or I can hit every single red light because of the timing. So it's a bummer, but I was surprised not to run out sooner. You know, our estimates, I should have ran out long before I did. But yeah, no one made it as far as the 22. Man, that was crazy as far as he went. You know, what was it? 110 total laps.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long
30
way.
to 40
It's a
over
lot.
the fuel window.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of factors that play into that. Certainly, I think that not every fuel cell is exactly the same, so you're going to have a little bit of variance there.
Well, what do you mean they're not all the same?
Well, it's just like every part you buy on the car. They're not, while they're the same, they're not the same.
So some guys have a bigger fuel cell than other guys?
I mean, it's such a minuscule. It's a small amount, but yes, some.
Apparently, it might not be a small amount.
It might not be. I mean, the difference between him finishing the race and not was, he ran out, I guess when he was doing his celebration, but that's not much fuel. So if you get, 0.2 gallons more out of your tank, that, you can go somewhere with it. So, but yeah, it was there's a lot of factors into it. And I saw a lot of questions into, well, how is it possible that he didn't run out of gas? I think there's a few things that go into that. Track position matters. When you're running kind of as poorly as they were, he was not in the gas as much as the leaders, right? So he's having to lift out of the, your lift point into the corner is shallower. So you gain that. You can't get back in the gas as quick because you're in traffic. So more than likely, he was getting better fuel mileage than what all the leaders were that were in open track for the bulk of that run. And horsepower of the engines play a factor in that as well. If you look and look at the cars that kind of ran out first, it was the Chevys, then it was the Toyotas, then the Fords were the last to run out, right? So when you have more horsepower, you typically run out of gas quicker because you use more fuel. So those are some of the things. And while it looks like a big number, and it was a big number that they made, he had a lot of benefits. And this is one of the few benefits of running slow in the course of that last run.
It's like speedway racing a little bit.
Yeah, exactly right. You're just back there, and he's fighting for 15th or whatever he was going to finish before this all happened, and it just you have to do a good job of saving as well. We don't know if his crew chief gave him information throughout the race to say, when they're in the spot, hey, save me some in case we got green, white checkers. Maybe he was doing that where, I was going all out, right? I was trying to catch the one, and I was running as absolute hard as I could. So, it doesn't take much, and you can save, a gallon or so, pretty easily. Everyone's fuel saves may be a little different under caution. So there's ways that this happened, and it all just lined up perfectly for him.
His average running position yesterday was 14th.
Yeah.
So
which is right where he was when the first caution came out.
Tyler, were you expecting him to run out in those last two laps?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I was expecting it, but just based off the information we had, by the team's calculations, they thought the 22 was going to run out before the 14. So I wasn't going to give up a row to restart behind one car or the other based on those numbers. It just worked out to where, I end up by the numbers being close to the front and the outside. So yeah, I was ready for it, I guess. I was trying to plan accordingly. May have been a mistake on my part, but I was kind of thinking too he'd be a little less apt to run a larger distance around the track too because of that. And
is that what you were frustrated about? Is that were you frustrated in yourself at the end?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I got there with one to go, and I mean, kind of all day long, I've been really adversely affected by the big arc in the late apex, right? And pretty much had zero success running within 2 or 3 car lengths of somebody on the bottom doing that. And when that would happen, I'd lose my run. I wouldn't even be anywhere near for another lap and a half. So I was really hoping that he was going to take that approach that I'd seen others take all day long. I didn't, in the moment, I didn't know that when he was racing the 14, he raced him a similar way, really ran up the track, ran him out of room.
You mean drivers do that?
Well, yeah, right. But not knowing that, the restart before he got by the 14 doing that, I kind of I probably had the wrong approach.
Yeah.
It
was going to be it would have been hard to believe that he was going to let you pass on the outside. Like, even if you got positioned, like you were going to get run up in the fuzz, right? So, but it's just a tough spot if you go low, then
you got to hope that you get close enough and just somehow that has a bobble. I mean, I saw the way you passed the 1, and believe it, like I passed the 5 at the end of stage 1 a very similar way. I pretty much had given up on trying to pass him. It was like, it's the move that almost never works where you try to drive in there and get to the left rear, and I got like just close enough to where he just wiggled off the bottom, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Normally that never works. And
right.
I didn't want it I didn't want to try the in my opinion, you talk percentages, right? Like a low percentage move. And I don't know, maybe just with the tire advantage, it would have been enough.
Yeah, that's the only thing is you had such a tire advantage. Maybe that if you did get close enough to him, right, he has that moment because more than likely he was hanging on at that particular moment anyway. But it's always easy to second guess. Right?
It's tough.
Like,
I really thought
you're trying. I mean, I'm trying to explain to the people that you're going down the straightaway, right, and you've got to run, and you're half a car length back, and all you're doing then is this guy's looking up, you're looking forward, and you're just trying to predict. It's all predicting, right? And it's just whether you get that prediction right. Now, if you are in a better tire advantage, sometimes you have the ability to, change direction a little bit more easy, but it's still at some point you're going to have to cross a wake. One way or another, you're going to have to cross, and that wake is just very, very hard to overcome no matter what advantage you got.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I was going to have a better shot of crossing his wake from, behind the car to the right than from behind, him shutting it off from right to left.
Yes.
So that was...
Is there a moment there if you're running second that you can see how he's going to enter the corner and then you can choose based on that?
It's tough. I mean...
because you need to carry, as the second car, you need to carry so much speed to then be close enough to do something.
You pretty much got to be at the max potential of the car, and it requires every bit of downforce. Guys like him, I mean, I've seen you do it, Larson, Ross, those guys are really, really good and have a really good defensive plan. And it's just something I got to get a little bit better at.
Yeah.
So you're committed to a line going down the backstretch? You're committed to...
No, I'm committed to maximum entry speed. I just got to figure out where they're going to go. And with that just long, lazy-like arc, I mean, it's not like lazy is probably a bad word. It's a calculated arc, right? Like you're going into the corner and leaving yourself just enough room to shade up, shade down. And I was just trying to, wait for that moment that he would cut down, and he kind of act like he was going to go to the middle. But as soon as he saw me really poke the right rear, he'd just unwind the wheel.
Not to turn this whole discussion into a tire talk, but Paul Wolf in the post race said that on that last pit stop that it was a no-brainer that they were going to put 2 tires on, and that 2 tires carried them to this win.
Yeah. So when did they put on their last?
So 111 laps as well.
No, we know his lefts went 111 because that was the last time he pitted. But when did he take lefts before that? Because that was the last time he pitted for lefts. You know what I mean? So he went further than 110.
So he pitted in
in
that last cycle, or
yeah.
So with like 60, 70 to go, when we all pit what was going to be for the last time, he took rights there. Is that?
No, he pitted for the very last time with 100 and some laps to go. Because that's what it said. He went X amount of laps.
That was the end of stage 2.
Okay. But what I'm saying is that he only took right. So when did he put the lefts on? Before that, right? So over half the race. Because they only had this was a marathon, 300 and some laps. So, I don't know. I mean, we could look it up quick, but either way, yeah, there was very little tire wear. And it's one of those tracks that, certainly Goodyear could do some work to the left side tire, at least the left side tire. That, to me, that's where they really got to get more aggressive on all tracks, is with the left side tire. But yeah, I think kind of, was it a good race? Kind of, it could have gone either way. I think there were still some good battles there at the end. But yeah, Logano going that far on lefts, he said it was an easy call because there was less than 1 second of fall off for 80 laps or something. So yeah, I think that it's certainly, we could get better there. Goodyear's working on that. We had our driver meeting and they're working on some stuff to try to get more aggressive with these tires, which, it is a slow process, right? I mean, we wish we could just snap our fingers and them, have an adequate tire fall off at each racetrack. But I think that they're learning as they're going. And when we go revisit, hopefully they continue to, know that, okay, we've got a lot of room for margin here at Nashville. Let's go further.
I definitely think they're getting closer. In the middle of this week, it was a busy week, doing double duty, running for Sam Hunt. We had the tire test at Watkins Glen, and one of their Devo tires. It was really. I mean, Watkins Glen's always been a place where you fight to have any sort of fall off, and one of the tires they had there for us. I mean, I think it was like 4 seconds to fall off over 20 laps.
What?
Yeah. So I think they're getting closer. I think for them, they just got to figure out how
they're
running
that tire.
They got to work on it. They got to figure out. I think.
How many laps?
I don't want
to
say too much, but we ran 20. So I mean, I think they're getting closer. I think they're getting closer.
That's plenty.
Yeah. No, but I think they're getting closer to that, right? Like, they were trying to find something for Watkins Glen, right? And road course tire, short track tire, right? Like, I don't know what the differences might be in the construction of it, but I think they're getting closer to that point of finding something for us.
That would be exciting, because Watkins Glen, holy cow, that was, I think, last year the toughest track to pass. I mean, I got the pole there, and my crew chief told me, he says, hey, if we lead lap 1, we're going to lead every lap. So try to figure out how to lead lap 1. I didn't, and I finished second, and because all I did was hold up everyone behind me the entire day. So it was, Watkins Glen needed a ton of work, and I mean, that excites me to hear that they at least found something that's got significant fall off.
Do you guys not talk about this stuff in like drivers' chats after your testing?
Well, I guess in this situation,
like, hey guys, we had 4 second fall off. Like, things are bright.
Again, I probably should remember. I got a microphone in my face. I mean, it's something they're working towards, right? Will they have it for this Watkins Glen? We'll see. I know they want to. It's just a process of putting the things in place to make it a reality. But I guess more than anything, right? If we can have fall off at Watkins Glen, I'm sure we can find it at these other racetracks.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's something that can be implemented at your Phoenixes or whatever, right? I think that the surface at Watkins Glen, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Phoenix.
Very similar.
So you can make that work. So
Joey put on 4 tires at lap 188. So those left sides went 250. Does that math check out?
No.
Oh, how many laps were
150
overtime?
Okay, so you only had 40 or so laps on those lefts. But either way, half the race. Yeah, he ran on the lefts. Truthfully, from a wear perspective, he could have run the whole race on his lefts. I mean, he wouldn't be as competitive, but these tires they're not going to wear out.
Yeah, I mean, when we had that red flag, I think Christopher was still on those right side tires, and then we sat and we went back going. I mean, I pretty much noticed zero difference in his car capability from the time he put on the right side tires to the time he went back to 4 tires a little bit later in the race.
Yeah, actually, I looked at his lap times during that during the rain delay, and he was running like 3 sub 30-50 laps in a row, and it was the same as what it was on 4 tires. We took 4. Chris came to me right when that rain came. I got out of the car, and he greeted me right as soon as I got out. He's like, I I screwed up. I was so worried about your battery voltage. I just fumbled the ball here, and but thanks for a good restart. You got us back in the game. We're back now, P6. He's like, we're fine. We're going to win this race. We execute this correctly. We're going to be fine. And so, yeah, it was an interesting situation, because the field kind of split there. I took 4. A few of other people took 4 as well, but the bulk of the cars up front took 2. That definitely was the right call, but it shuffled the field at least during that point. And certainly when the rain came and then everyone's got their stuff cooled back off, like it didn't.
Yeah, just reset.
It reset everything. Yeah. Because usually the fall off that we do see in these tires is through heat. And so anytime you can cool them all the way back off, they're usually going to fire right away. So,
well, yeah, speaking of cooling, didn't they gave Cindric a penalty for how he had his fans placed, I guess?
I guess he was cooling the inside of his car. So
did it have to be over the wall, I guess? Because everybody else, like I looked up and down pit road, everyone had their fans pointed at their cars, but they were on pit road, just not from the pit box, I guess.
I don't know. I'd have to see that. But I mean, more than likely, well, I mean, because we added water to my my drink system, and the guy's like, "Hey, if you want to do that, do it under caution." We're like, yeah, we can't.
Yeah, that's strange.
We can't. But I mean,
the NASCAR official at our car told us we could, add, replace bottles, that sort of stuff.
That's what I thought. I thought that was.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, tell him it's no different than handing me a water bottle in here.
Yeah.
They've always allowed that. So was it just pointed down at the car the entire time? I wonder if, you technically could be pointing it at tires and under the car, to cool the car fully off, things like that.
Well, that was a confusing part for me, as I looked up and down pit road and there was a lot of cars with their fans pointed like right in front of the tires.
But what we're saying though is even our officials that were standing in our pit box had a different interpretation of the rules of the drink system.
Yeah.
So not everyone's on the same page there. And so certainly it seemed where I guess he had to go to the back for that.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Maybe that's if that doesn't happen, then you win this race. He's not in the back with Gragson. Doesn't get hip checked a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't spin out.
Maybe.
NASCAR got you again.
Listen, I don't know. Am I crazy to think that I feel like I should have 100 wins? Like this is crazy. The ways I've lost races, but
hey,
damn it,
I feel you.
It sucks, right?
It does. I was, believe it or not, I was actually happy I was third and not second because I didn't add to I would have been like 12 or 13 second place finishes I got to my name. So yeah, those are driving me crazy too. So
I want to know, Denny, if there's any part of you that thinks if you raced Kyle differently last week and if his spotter didn't make the comments he made, that you would have won yesterday and there wouldn't have been multiple overtime finishes because of the way he raced you into one, which caused the wreck with Ross. Like if that's another driver leading that race, if that's Chase Elliott or William Byron, does Kyle race the same way into one?
Well, my question would be
because you restarted on the bottom because you knew that he would try to take.
I didn't trust either one of them to start on the inside of me. We just talked about being on the high side. You're just in a bad spot on these 1.5 miles. So I wanted to run the bottom.
And the bottom had been the preferred lane.
Yeah,
anyways.
I'd restarted on the bottom all day. It wasn't a reaction to any one person or anything like that. I just think Kyle was out of control. Should I have been, thinking that his thought process post races, he's like, yeah, I was trying to knock the 11 up the racetrack and then that way I could get clean air. Well, that would have wrecked the one as well because the one's on the outside of me. So I think he was okay with just crashing whoever was in front of him.
You don't think it had anything to do with it being you, that there were the guardrails were off a little bit?
The stakes keep getting raised because I got hit early in the race and he knocked me in the 22 up the racetrack and then the end of stage 2. So again, if he's butthurt over a lap that happened at the end of Loudon that okay, he wouldn't give me an inch to clear. Okay, well, this is now 3 instances in a row. So now I feel like, okay, I need to respond. So I'm in this for the long haul. I'm fine with the way we're racing, and it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep getting raised.
So is it a rivalry?
I'm sure if you want to call it.
Oh, hey, it's finally calling it one.
Finally
Last
calling
week
it what
he
it
wouldn't
is.
do it.
No, that's what he did.
wouldn't.
I just said, fine, whatever I don't care what you want to call it.
No, Travis, can we add a clip into this? Denny said it is not a rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, I listened last week.
I mean, what's your justification, Jared?
100%.
100% of what?
A rivalry.
Rivalry? Yeah.
No. I'm just saying, I mean, you usually are the one rationing that, well, he this or that, or what's your...
I think he definitely raced that first overtime restart the way he did because you were in front of him. I think if that was a 9-car...
Well, what about beside me? He was... When he lost control on the other restart and went down the track, he was running into the right rear during that instance as well. And then he crossed the lanes because he was out of control and then got right behind me. The caution fell right away.
When he restarted next to you?
Yeah, but there was multiple times he started next to me.
I don't know about any besides I'm not saying I don't know about any. Like I didn't take note of ones besides the first overtime restart and then the one following that.
Yeah, I mean, Loudon happened because when we came off turn 4, out of the blue, he was running up against my right rear, like grinding up against the side of my car, just like he did with Kyle Busch. And so I took exception to that. And I'm like, what the f-? And so I'm trying to go places with, I'm faster than him. I'm trying to catch the 45, who's, I'm on better tires than all of them. Rain's coming. So I squeeze him up into the third lane. Didn't run him in the fuzz. I mean, at all. He never got in the fuzz. And so my opinion is the same. That was hard racing, and I took exception to getting run into on the straightaway, just like Kyle took exception to him running into him on the straightaway. And then again, there was 3 or 4 instances this race. So again, this will keep going, and it will not just keep going. It will continue to get raised because hearing that he was going to be content with just knocking us up into the 1, that changes the game certainly at the end.
Right. I just feel like those comments that his spotter made last week were...
I saw a spotter at a bar in Nashville. I told him to shut the up in person too. I did.
Maybe you shouldn't have said that.
I can picture Tyler's face when you told him that.
It was kind of hard. Like he was like, "Hey, I'm Tyler." I'm like, "Oh, hey, shut the up." So, no, I mean it was. We were laughing at the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we were all out during that time. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm not complaining. I think that this is, certainly week in, week out, the 11 or 5 are going to race for race wins more times than not. And clearly, we see how it's going to go. And so I think that we just need to continue doing this, and we'll just see how it all nets out.
Hopefully the 45's there to pick up the pieces.
Run third.
Matt DiBenedetto tweeted.
Who?
Matt DiBenedetto.
Who's that?
I mean, you more or less ended his career.
I didn't end his career. I helped his career. I bought the guy sets of tires when he was
let him win Bristol
on social media about not having money to go racing.
You could have let him win Bristol.
Give me a break. What did he say?
He said when Kyle passed you back at the end of stage 2, it looked like the normal way the 11 passes the 5 to me.
Well, see, that's the thing is they see highlights. They don't watch the entire race, nor do they see what happens when we're not on camera, right? I simply have just converted my style into Kyle Larson's style that he's been racing for 10 years. So now it's clashing because we're driving each other the same.
And just 2 good cars racing for the win.
That's it. Just fun racing.
Harrison Burton, and Carson Hocevar.
Oh,
Only saw a highlight of that one.
So I'm going to call on NASCAR here. They need to do something to Carson. They don't need to suspend him or anything like that, but they need to dig into his pocket a little bit because I think that you have to anytime you have someone that goes before a judge, right? they always take into your past history, right? And we've seen this happen. And they, when he was in the Truck Series, and then I think he right rear hooked someone under caution at Martinsville. Was it last year? I think it was last year, because Carson goes through these moments where he'll be fine, or at least what I see, he'll be fine, and then all of a sudden he'll just lose it. And certainly Harrison took exception to it, as he should. And the 77 crashed him under caution. So you need to dig into his pocket. Points is whatever. I don't know whether he really cares about points. So I guess he's racing for Rookie of the Year, so maybe some points or something. Because they did do that to Austin Hill, didn't they, in the Xfinity Series for crashing someone under caution at Charlotte? Cole Custer.
I think it was like 25 points.
25 points and
enough
some money
to hurt
or something.
today.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
You got to do something. And I don't even know that Austin Hill has the rap sheet that Carson does. So it's just my opinion that you got a young guy coming in here and he's doing these kind of same bad habits that he's been doing. And again, he goes through phases with it. But yeah, I think they need to get his attention here.
Yeah, I feel like it's like you said, the
it's
past
just not right
history's there.
to right rear hook someone under caution. And again, it's not like he destroyed his car, but the severity of the crash doesn't matter. It's still the same act.
Doesn't it add like another lap to the if you right rear hook some going down the backstretch under caution, if you're coming to the choose or something, now don't you have to add and extend the caution laps as well?
Well, I thought when the caution came out, I thought it was for the 21. I didn't know that was just there was another wreck, and then that was just a add-on wreck. But yeah, it's certainly just not good for sure. Like for instance, when I was displeased with Larson, or just playing grab as you say, neither one of us were going to spin each other out under caution. I just was giving him a bump there, and then he hit the brakes, and then it made it look worse than what it really is. But we were fine after that. And so, I think that getting beside someone and then steering to try to hook them, I'm not a fan of that at all. And I think that this typically, in NASCAR's past, when you had different people running it, they would give these learning moments that, okay, don't be doing this, and we'll see if they do that.
Yeah, I figured that out really early in my career. It just ended up happening to being where I was out of the truck. It was my first year. Me and Herman Quiroga got into it pretty good at Pocono.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in forever.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the whole thing, but basically he used me up. He right hooked me out of the tunnel turn, and we both got sent to the back. So we're on 4 tires racing through the field like crazy. I'm just trying to get to him, and as I was right hooking him, the caution had already come out, so I needed to basically let him go, and I was determined to basically wreck him the exact same way he got me. And I had a fun conversation with NASCAR after that one.
Yeah.
As it worked out, I basically had like 2 months off anyways, but I think whether I was racing or not, I was going to have about a month or 2 off from Truck Series competition. So
you live and you learn, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
the safety implications, right? Like, when you're mad at somebody, that stuff's not going through your head, right? Right hooking somebody into the wall, hitting driver's side first, or sitting them back across traffic can be a scary thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is the cars were not fully slowed down yet for the caution. And so, yes, he turned them into oncoming traffic. And so, Carson's going to be part of the Cup Series for a very long time. But sometimes you need a sit down to say, we're not going to put up with this. And usually it happens, things like this happen through self-policing, right? Other drivers like Harrison Burton would go in the next few weeks and he'll knock Carson up the racetrack, or he'll spin him out. And, it self-polices that way. But the series itself, they do not, when the caution is out, the caution is out. That means stop all the bull, right? No matter what. And so I think that they'll definitely look at it, and my guess is they'll do something.
When you say stop all the bull, that's including bumping into the guys. Like, where's the line?
Yeah, I mean, I
this.
think it's when you wreck someone under caution. It's wrecking someone under caution. It's, when the caution came out at Texas and William Byron sent me through the infield. And again, he didn't send me through traffic, and he admitted, it was an accident. I didn't mean to hit him that hard. I think that's what they don't like. I think that, people make contact under caution all the time. You run up there and you bump someone in the rear, say, hey, what the hell? And that's what I was doing, and certainly felt very much in control.
Question for both of you. Is this the worst race that you didn't win in recent memory? Like, you come down here this morning feeling like more than you have ever before in recent memory?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think back to Vegas. It's been a minute. Well, darling, yeah, I'm going to stop thinking about it. They'll add up.
They do add up because I can name 3 or 4 that just right off the bat where I'm leading with 2 to go and the caution comes out. And then for whatever reasons, it doesn't happen. So, stage 1, I was leading the race. Justin Haley ran me kind of whatever, but I understand. Like, I get it. Was I frustrated? Yes, because he was kind of blocking me, but he was trying desperately not to go 2 down. And so I understood it was early enough in the race where, I knew it was nothing egregious from Justin Haley. Like, he wasn't doing it because he was trying to be a dick. He was just trying to salvage his race at that point. But yeah, every instance is definitely different. But yeah, I certainly felt like, we never got past for the lead, that we weren't in this, in this weird situation like the Haley situation. I felt confident that had we been in control of the race, we would have led a lot of the race. But I felt very good with our car, and it showed kind of on that long last run. We battled back from, I think we restarted 7th and took the lead with, 4 or 5 to go. So,
do you feel like you had the best car better than Bell all day?
Yes, I do. Because you usually can tell by, like, can you just continue to stay on the bumper of the car in front? Usually, if you got the best car, when you're out front, you'll then pull away, right? So you usually can tell by, where's the gaps, and when you got a car just continuing to run right behind. And I thought his car was very, very good. When I say I thought our car was the best, it was probably the best by a little bit. But what I also base that off of is that we were able to pass cars in traffic. When we did go to the back, I think I went back to 18th under green conditions at one point. We then battled back, drove back to 6th, then went from 6th to 1st on that last run. So, to me, you always need to be outrunning. We talk about this. Fast cars outrun the position they're in. Their lap times are faster than their position. Anyone's going to be fast out front. Like the 51 was in front of me. I couldn't pass him. He certainly wasn't a contender, but can you outrun the lap time of your position? And I felt like that's what we did all day.
Another incident we didn't talk about, I'm going back through my notes here, is when Kyle restarted behind you. You were between him and Joey, and he pushed you up the track into Joey, or however that incident happened.
Yep. Well, Joey was pissed at me,
right?
And so I text Joey during the break and was like, "Bud, like, get your facts straight. I got jammed into you." And he's like, "Have you looked at SMT?" And then I quickly going in on SMT to try to figure this out. And I'm like, "Okay, I lifted before you." So he's like, "Well, because then the team tried to explain to him. His spotter says, 'Hey, Joey, I know the 11 was pushing you, but you got ping-ponged up the track because of the 5. And he's like, "I don't buy it." Like,
I had a hand in this too, though. I think, right? I forced the 3 wide. You got the 5. It's just, it's a product of what happens when cars are on 4 tires and racing.
Yeah. I tried to explain to Joey. I says, "Hey, I was trying to do you a favor and not split you 3 wide," because I knew he was on older anyway. So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna help you get going here, and then I'll pass you once we get to the corner." And I lifted before Joey. By the way, in the SMT day, I lifted before him, but as soon as I lifted, I got nailed, and it nailed me into the 5. The 5 drove into me and knocked both of us up the track. So these things happen. Like, again, we're in a cocoon, and Joey doesn't want to hear it. he just knows that I got knocked up the track. Who was it? It's the 11. So, but it's, hopefully he feels a lot better now because he
probably doesn't even remember.
He backed into this one for sure. But, it's just part of it. And, he was just an innocent victim of the 5 overdriving into the corner into me. So
how did the text conversation end?
He responded quickly by saying, you look at the SMT. I'm like, okay, I'll go look at it. He's like, have you looked? And I says, no, but I can tell you I was in the middle of you. So I know when I was hitting you and when I got hit. So I'll go back and look at it, but certainly I can tell you that I started to release off of you and I got pummeled into the corner. So I don't need, I was in there. I was there.
You were there. Yeah.
I was there. So it all worked out for him. He had a great day. I ended up 12th. We switched positions.
Yeah. Tyler, how do you feel about this season as a whole? Up to 4th in points now.
Oh, really? Well, that's good.
I'm trying to give you some
I think when you look at it, just with how the day unfolded with the overtime attempts, I think we got 51 points out of it. I think we probably scored the most points, I would imagine. I think we ran 3rd, 2nd, and then 3rd at the end. So, it was a good points day, all things considered. We've been doing a better job of staying in the mix all day long and not letting little things derail us. But the way it was looking, unfortunately, but before the overtime attempts, I felt like we had a car that could contend with the 20, with the 11 in that same conversation, and just whether it was the adjustments we missed or it was truly something with the tire, we just it just slipped away in stage 3, and over the season that hasn't plagued us as bad, but it still comes into the picture every now and again, and it's frustrating, right? When you feel like you got a car that can contend for the win, and when the race falls a certain way, right? Like I saw you drive back up to the lead. It's like we should have been in that conversation. So yeah, it's been a little bit frustrating, but surprisingly, I think we've got the most top 10s. I don't know about top 5s. We've led more laps than last year. Our pit crew's been improving. We've been getting more consistent there. We're really solid on the intermediate style tracks. This one was just flat enough where I feel like we had a couple hiccups, but we're building in the right direction. I think for me, it's tough to let wins get away. That's just the thing that sticks with me more than anything. And I know it sticks with my team as well, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Tyler, is what I really liked about him when I was recruiting him years and years ago, is that Tyler wants to win, right? And to see that he's not happy with a 3rd place finish. That's, as a co-owner, that's what you want, right? Is guys that are really, really caring about winning for their team. And I know you're really close with your team, and you've been a great teammate to Bubba. And so I definitely feel like, it's amazing. You look at the standings, and I think you're only like 50-some back. It's like, and you can ring off many things of like,
yeah,
so much that got left on the table,
yeah.
right? Everyone has those stories, but from your perspective, and it always seems so much worse, right? And so, I think the 45 teams been doing great. There's still a little to be desired on the short tracks, for sure. We got to improve.
Phoenix
there.
Was promising, but it's certainly got away a little bit. But yeah,
yeah. So I think that I've seen a steady progression out of them, and certainly when you look at their points position, points scored versus last year, they're certainly improved. I'd say that from my perspective, I think of probably at least legitimately 3 wins that the team should have, had you not had crazy circumstances happen. So that's a good number. Still a lot of racing left, right? And Tyler's one of the hardest working guys in the garage, as far as I'm concerned. He works hard on his craft, and I'm really excited to see where this team goes in the future.
Well, you just mentioned Bubba, and that was another major factor in my dejection after the race, is that I knew the position they're in. They're battling the 22, and I need to win for myself. But, you know, as a teammate, it was really on me as well to get up there and not let the 22 go to victory lane. Right. So, yeah, that was just tough. I mean, I know that team is better than where they're running, and I know they're going to figure it out and find it. Just certainly with the 22 stealing one in the way that they did, just makes that path more difficult.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, they ended up having a decent finish. I think that the 23 kind of lost some pace there around stage 2 or 3. You know, Corey Himes showed some good speed. I think he was running 12th when he was going to finish 12th before all the chaos happened, which is, you know, really good in his 3rd or 4th start. So, you know, we were certainly happy with what we saw. I've certainly been challenged in 2311 on speed. Like, we got to get faster. And so I think that, you know, I saw some good things from the overall team this weekend that hopefully we can carry on. And we're going to a road course, right? Chicago, and you should be in the mix.
I forget that we're going to Chicago. I know. With everything that happened yesterday.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
So, one of my most, you know, tuck your tail between your legs moments was last year at Chicago on the start of the race. I had no idea. Where, you know, how deep I'm controlling the race.
I didn't either.
I know, but like, how can you take that kind of risk? It's lap 1, corner 1, and you just blew by me. And I'm like, and Gabehart was like, Denny, he's willing to crash first corner, first lap, and you're not. I mean, what do you want me to say?
I just had a feeling you were going to be smart about it. You're going to be smart. You weren't going to take the risk. And I just saw a great opportunity to just go a little bit further. And I mean, it unfortunately had the caution right away, right? I think I gotten out like a 5-second lead. Yeah. I would have had plenty of time to respond. Christopher was obviously a little bit better, found a way to go a little bit faster. I would have had plenty of time to respond. I wanted to try and get a gap and then have the team, give myself and the team time to, okay, the 20 or whoever it would have been is making up time here and there and react, so I could have held the lead. But that was a funny moment for sure. I knew we were going single file.
What was crazy is that they're calling it out how far he's back. And he's like 7 or 8 car lengths back down the front straightaway. And I'm like, oh, good. I can really take this easy here.
Yeah.
And roll right around me, and he was gone in a flash. And so,
was that one of the many road courses last year where he taught you how to sit on the pole?
Well, talk about tuck your tail between your legs. Like almost seemed like almost every time I went to the road course last year, you know, you were right behind me, I would think, in the queue, and I'd lay down the lap. They say P1, and I get all excited, and like 2 seconds later, Denny beat you by 200s, 300s, and yeah, those were tough moments for me because, you know, as a driver, it's like, damn.
Well, Tyler took me to school. There's been plenty of teaching moments that we've had, you know, when we've bounced so much back and forth. I think we've learned quite a lot from each other. I certainly noticed some things when we were racing each other that you were implementing when it came to, you know, things that we discuss and passing. So it's fun to kind of see how that all evolves, because that's what you want out of teammates, right? It's someone to push you to learn better, right? And certainly you've been the barometer of the Toyota cars. You know, when you came in, you had the most speed, and I just was like, you know, I probably had one of the slowest speeds, and my crew chief said, you know, for a while that, listen, we're just going to run whatever they've got, and you're going to have to figure it out. Like, if you can get within a half a second of him per lap, I'll then tune the car to whatever you want. But until you can get within a half a second, you're going to run what he has, because otherwise, how are you going to learn, right? How am I supposed to look at data and see what you're doing if I can't, you know, if I don't have the same car? So I think that was a good, useful tool for us, and certainly we've paid it back at some short tracks.
Richmond,
and
man,
so,
it's been a huge help for me there. For sure.
And so we've all made each other better, and you know, again, it's I think the 45 is a team that's going to contend when we get down to these playoffs and all these tracks that matter.
You'll now officially have Chase Briscoe joining the Toyota fold next year. Does he make your team better in a specific way, like you just talked about Tyler making?
He's already on better the wall.
Yeah. Is that your only teammate on the wall?
Another race.
Yeah, right.
That it should have won. And I got taken out by a car that was black flag. Damn it. No, I think that Chase has a very good skill set. Certainly at some tracks, he really excels really well, and I'll be excited to compare myself when he's in the same car. So I do think that he will bring something to the table. Always unique perspectives from a driver that has been at another organization, another manufacturer. All that will be intriguing as he comes into our meetings next year.
Looking at the bracket challenge, Tyler, you had to beat Stenhouse, Bell, Larson, Chastain, and Elliott. Quite possibly one of the most difficult roads to the championship.
Yeah.
It was tricky. I mean, obviously, what's crazy, I mean, the whole way through we had some sort of a clash or, well, I wouldn't say clash, but I was around those guys at some point in the race or having, potentially race-altering moments with those drivers. I think at Gateway, me and Stenhouse had ended up towards the back just through strategy, and him, and Byron got collected, and Stenhouse and Byron were nose-to-nose, and my tail was wedged in between their two, or my nose was wedged in between their two back bumpers. I mean, we about wrecked off of 4 at Gateway there. So, I mean, a lot of the way to winning this thing, I had some moments with a lot of these drivers. I mean, Sonoma, me and Bell were nose to tail. I was hanging on for dear life.
I was on the plane watching time and scoring, and I was watching that. Hanging around that 9th, 10th spot.
Iowa, I got a blessing there. I mean, I had no business that day beating Larson, and it just an upset happened, right? But
that's why I think it's going to be so impossible to nail all these things.
Yeah.
Like, let's just pretend this was the first round of the bracket challenge, right? Like, the field entirely flipped
with 2 laps to go. The whole thing on its head. I was thinking that when I heard Chase didn't think about it one single bit, but I've had fun thinking about it and taking it seriously, knowing what's coming next year. And we were ahead of the 9 most of the day. We had a couple restarts. We were nose to tail, and I knew Chase is aggressive on restarts, so I knew I was gonna have to work hard to keep him behind me. And when we had the caution with 2 to go, I'm like, well, there it goes. I just lost the bracket because my right front tire's corded, and then he ran out of fuel. So I mean, I was in control. It was done. I'd won it, and then 2 to go, I lost it. And up until when he ran out of gas on one of the restarts, on one of the overtime attempts, I mean, he had it in the bag. So if it had if TV was giving it any attention, it would have been really exciting for sure.
So next year, certainly drivers will be thinking about their matchups during the race,
especially with the money involved. Do we have like a tumbler or something for Reddick so he can at least leave here?
Again, let me go into your closet and just pick out a. You wear 9s, right?
No, sir.
I thought you did.
A little bigger than that.
9.5.
A little bigger than that.
What size? I think I can. I can make it work. Yeah. Can I go in the closet and just pick out a pair I like?
Absolutely.
Okay. Sweet.
There's about 100 in the closet and then 450 more down here in the basement.
Boxes?
Trust me.
Okay, we can go to the boxes.
So this is going to be a hot topic this week. I've already seen it. Just want to know what your feel is on unlimited Green-White-Checkers. I mean, we only it happened. It was 5, right? So it was the most we've ever had. So do you think that we just kind of let this thing just keep going?
Man,
do you limit them?
I feel like just based on the situation with where everyone was on fuel, that's why we had so many, just from cars running out of gas.
Yeah.
In the coming to the start finish line, I don't know. I mean, it was just a perfect storm. I feel like most of the time, I mean, we've had overtime unlimited attempts for years and years now, right? And the most we've seen is like 2 or 3. So I think it was just an oddity in the. In the stats, right? I mean, it just was a perfect storm for everyone to have just a lot of caution. So I don't know. Maybe they think about, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have a lot to think about, right? Is there a way that we can save, the guys that are close on their window some fuel when we get in this situation? Is there, do we stop the field and reorder it so we don't burn 3 or 4 or 5 laps of caution and fuel? I don't know. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's either you have unlimited Green-White-Checkers or you don't. I know that for a while we had, I think,
3 attempts.
3 attempts.
Yeah.
I could have lived with 3 attempts.
I mean, can't you do that? Can't you stop the cars under
I
caution?
don't know
Like
if it really saves you much fuel, though. I don't know.
Yeah, they still have. I mean, I guess if there's a wreck, there was a big pileup on the backstretch. There was multiple cars down there that needed towing and all that. Like, yeah, we probably burn a lap and a half, 2 laps because they got to clean that up. The rest of the time, that you've got to allow for cars to pit, right? So you're gonna have the quickie cautions. You got to have your chews, all those things. So you're gonna have at least a minimum of 2 laps. That's just the bare minimum. That's if you opened up pit road first time by. You can't do that. They don't do that because usually the pace car hasn't got it.
Yeah.
So that's 3 laps at minimum each caution is going to be. Add it all up, and next thing you know, you have 6, 7 lap cautions, and you have cars running out. But it's
I could go either way, right? I feel like essentially if hey, it's not going to change. It's just a part of that gamble you take on your last pit stop. How tight do you push it? Do you leave yourself no room at all? Do you try and give yourself that lap and a half, 2 laps extra fuel for an overtime attempt over your run? I mean, it's kind of in the hands of the teams and the crew chiefs. How aggressive do you want to be filling your car up that last time?
Yeah, we're all trying to. I mean, when we pit, right? Usually at these racetracks, they're trying to put in whatever fuel will get us to the end and a Green-White-Checkered, right? It's no one's going to give up time to say, all right, I'm going to plan for 5 Green-White-Checkers, right?
I mean, we've seen teams and drivers quite literally their whole strategy is based around having a couple cautions.
Yes,
like they're short.
They won't make it.
They won't make it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
The 12, did the same thing. I don't know what he meant to, but he stayed out there when we were all close to a fuel window, and he was like, well, no, I'm just gonna.
We saw cars at Gateway implement that, and then it paid off. It's been paying off to do that. So
yeah, and the reward is worth it, and you can take those risks when you're running not so great.
Yeah,
right. That's the tough part about it is if you got a car like you had yesterday and in contention to win on speed outright without any novelties happening, like you're not going to put yourself in a strategy spot that's going to risk taking a fast car and finishing bad with it. But the people that are in the back running 25th, you have nothing to lose. I was the beneficiary of this during Kansas. I think I was leading the race, had to come in for pit, and next thing you know, we took. I'm sorry. Yeah, we were running out of gas. We needed to take fuel. We got a few bad restarts, so we just came and kept topping the car off. We're at the tail end lead lap. Next thing you know, it recycles. A few cautions come out. We cycle right back to the front. So when you have a not so good car, and it opens up options because you're willing to take the risk because there's way too much to gain and nothing to lose.
I want to give a shout out to Marty B 2021. Here's his bracket. A near perfect bracket.
This was amazing. He missed only 5 picks.
He missed the.
Huh?
Oh, he or she. We don't know for sure.
They missed Truex at Austin Dillon at Gateway, which was, I'm sure everyone missed that.
Okay, hold on. What's the first miss?
Truex, Austin Dillon at Gateway.
Not his fault. Not his fault he missed that one.
Bubba Cindric at Gateway. He could have predicted this one better.
Yep.
Cindric has been historically good at Gateway. Bowman and John Hunter at Gateway.
Not his fault.
And then the only other one was he picked you to beat Brad at Iowa, and we know how that went.
Not well. Okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty stout. I mean, and you could only fill out one, right? Per email? Per email, yeah. It's
was
pretty
there a Marty
impressive.
B 2020 and a 2019?
Is Marty spelled with an I or a Y?
I.
Oh,
like Mardi
that's
Gras.
why you said we don't know. Well, Marty, whoever you are, congratulations. The Dirty Mo Media team will be in contact and get you your prizes. That's pretty impressive. Next year, hopefully, the fans get a big reward if they get the best bracket. So glad we were able to chip in and NASCAR kind of take this deal over and I thought it was a huge success. Thank the whole Dirty Mo team, Mike Davis and all for taking this and putting the time into it to keep improving it. And so, we're going to hopefully give something back to the drivers here next year. And when you win it next year, it'll pay for, the win that you had this year.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You usually have like a Dear Denny segment at this point, and we don't have one in here. But Tyler, I kind of just want to open the floor to you. Is there anything that you want to ask Denny? Like literally anything?
Do you get lost in this house?
No, I know where I'm at.
Is it offensive to even call it a house? What would you call it?
No, it is a house.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a
I
mansion
actually
or a
use
manor.
I use all of this house. The only thing that was excessive.
The only?
Hold on. The only thing that was excessive that I really don't use that much is the bowling alley. But I had the space for it. It was actually supposed to be unused, just more storage space. And I was like, man, that kind of looks like when I saw the plans, I'm like, that looks like a bowling alley. And so I just was like, all right, screw it. Let's finish that space off and put a bowling alley in there. But everywhere else I use, like for my kids and the dogs, like to get their energy out, you just put them downstairs in the gym and let them run around. And they have go-kart races and can play basketball and all that stuff. It's great. Just let them wear themselves out. The pool gets used. Everything gets used. The man cave gets used for movie night, golf simulator, racing simulator.
You know what I find fascinating about this house is that while it's like 1 million square feet, there's not that many rooms.
I know.
There's only like 10 rooms.
Spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, each room is like 100,000 square feet, but there's not that many rooms.
Stop it.
I mean, you got to get through like 3 security guards. You got to flash your ID a bunch of times.
It's high security. Don't be trying to come up in here. You
find trouble.
Larson fans.
I remember the first time I came over here. It's like, I grew up in small town in New Jersey, right? And if someone came over to your house,
this is where Jared comes into his humble beginnings.
You
go ahead.
Walk up to the front door.
Subway, Jared.
You ring the doorbell. Someone comes to the door. It was like it was a hoop group night, and I like pulled in, parked. And I was like, I guess I should like walk up to the front door, ring it. Denny will answer. Welcome me in. Not how it works whatsoever.
You pretty much just let yourself in, and then we find you at that point. Just
pretty much, yeah. Denny.
There's been many mornings where I walk in and say, "What are you doing here?" He's sitting at the kitchen table. Jared, what are you doing here? I thought we were shooting some content. Exactly. That's exactly how that goes.
Happened just last week. You came home from 2311 like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like, what is Jared doing here? What time did Jordan tell you to get here?
Was that for the Father's Day thing?
Yeah.
I hate seeing Jared's car in my driveway. It means I've got
to do something.
I got to do something. Damn it. All right. Well, Tyler, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Congratulations on winning nothing. But at least you got a good day out of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
We will see you guys after Chicago. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. It's not a hard task for sure. It certainly...
Does it cost more money?
The engine bills are the same. I've been saying this forever.